Hey everybody, welcome back to the Eye of Stone podcast for another episode of Franchise Hump Day. We're going to be talking about the conclusion of the Penguin series, which in my opinion is the best comic book TV series on TV or streaming that's ever been put out there.
Yes, agreed.
All right, so we're on the same page with that.
We are
um,
absolutely. I think it's hard because it does have competition with um, the Arrow CW Arrow the first like 2 3 seasons, but by the end of it,
yeah,
though, there is no competition. But I I guess more in the beginning half of that series, and then it just ended up skyrocketing.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I guess now that it's over, we can rate the entire first season, possibly the only season of the Penguin. Although Colin Farrell has teased there could be a second season. So we're going to rate this first season of the Penguin. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 stones.
Yeah, same.
which is something I don't do easily.
No. I mean, the whole crew. I mean, from the writers to everybody involved, the actors, everybody behind the scenes, on the scenes, they all just absolutely gave it their 110% best, and it showed on screen. There's absolutely nothing like it.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell did a great job. That's not surprising at all. Especially with this character, he absolutely brings this character to life in a way that we haven't really gotten to see in the past as much. So it's really cool to see the Penguin's upbringing. I know the Gotham TV show did show, I forget the actor, but the Penguin in that one, his kind of upbringing, a little bit more of the first part of it. But to really see the Penguin dig deep and to see his rise to power and now getting more in the public eye is something phenomenal.
Agreed. Yeah. And something this season does well is it teases a lot of things that would be like aesthetically what we expect when we hear the Penguin.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways, not just like with his attire, but like when he has the Bliss operation in the tunnels under the city, it reminds me of the Penguin from Batman Returns, where like the Penguin lives in the sewers and he's got the ridiculous giant yellow duck boat and the umbrellas and there's penguins and shit. I mean,
real grimy, dirty.
It's not all Tim Burton-y, but it's reminiscent of that.
It is.
And it's also a tease because it's like I could see the Penguin having like this literal underground empire of making and selling drugs. And he's literally underneath the police's feet, like I think that's a really cool idea. And like his operation gets blown to bits.
Literally.
But it's like his car gets absolutely annihilated in the Batman. And then a week or whatever later, he's literally got the same car. Like there's just a vending machine of him.
Yeah.
So,
well, hell, it happened in this series. His car ended up getting absolutely like shot up and everything. And then by the end of it, it's perfect.
So point being, I feel like they give us these little things, and then maybe in the movies, it'll be established like, since the Penguin, he's rebuilt his empire. It's bigger than ever, or whatever. Because he effectively cleared his competition.
Oh, absolutely. I am kind of disappointed. I would have loved to see more of Sal Maroni.
His death was a little disappointing for me.
It was. It just
because it was like like what did I want to get your perspective? So like in that fight scene with the Penguin and Sal, what did you think was happening to Sal?
So as soon as he like froze in place, I knew immediately like heart attack.
All right, so you're thinking natural causes, old age, whatever.
Yeah,
okay,
but and
Because
that's kind of why.
there's been some skepticism as to like what actually happened there.
I
Not from
mean,
me. I'm with
right.
you. I was like, oh, he's old and he can't fucking
Well, it
stand
doesn't
his
make
ground. Like,
sense. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he wasn't the healthiest. Like his character wasn't the healthiest,
mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like he grabbed. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know specifically, but I've always heard like when you're having a heart attack, you get the pains in your left arm. So he grabs his left arm,
Yeah.
he stops, he just kind of collapses a little bit, for the most part. So, but I felt like that was a really weak way to kill him off, and the fight itself was kind of weak, honestly. I expected
Yeah.
um more from him physically with that fight because I mean, he's a big dude. Like, um,
Yeah.
so I expected more like swinging or maybe him and Penguin shooting each other. Like, I don't know. I just expected a little bit more from that.
I agree. I will say I get what they were trying to achieve in that sequence because there's a lot of emphasis, like after Sal's on the ground,
Yeah.
the Penguin is showing like this was all a mental thing. Like he wanted in his own head to feel like he bested Sal.
Yeah.
And he wanted Sal to know it. So it's like if he had the choice, he would have probably gotten Sal to like a decrepit state,
Yeah.
told him all this shit, killed him.
Yeah.
But he's dying from a natural cause. So the Penguin's like in panic, but like, yeah, I got you, like
Yeah.
I beat you. Like he wanted him to know before he passed away.
Which explains why he unloaded the magazine into his chest because
Exactly.
he felt like he had to be the one that
He
pulled
had
the
to be,
trigger.
yeah. So it's like, oh shit.
Literally.
So he's like trying to get all this shit out
Yeah.
to him and then kill him before
Yeah.
he dies of natural causes. So like I understood that because it lets us know as the viewer, like, this guy is this fucking driven, determined to be
Yeah.
the best and let other people know that he is. Like,
Yeah.
let them know I'm not this bottom guy. I am the top guy.
Right.
And I think in the end, that will be the Penguin's downfall.
Yeah.
Whenever the downfall is, I think that'll be his downfall is this thing in his head. Because he is brilliant. Like, he is definitely a psycho.
Yeah.
By definition, he is absolutely psychotic. And this, the last episode really tells us that.
Dude, yes.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my friend Mark. He watches this show, and besides you, he's the other person I talk to about it like every week.
Yeah.
We just text, but he told me he had to rewatch the last couple minutes of the episode a couple of times because he said he couldn't wrap his head around the prostitute being dressed like his mom and
Dude,
dancing with
yeah.
her. He was like, that threw me, man. And I was like, yeah, same. Like everything about the ending was crazy to me and
That was just
caught me off guard. But that was like some Norman
whole
Bates
other
type shit,
yeah. Yes.
Like, dude, your mom is in the other room in a hospital bed. You don't got to be doing all this fucking.
Well, I was confused when they first because if I'm remembering correctly, they panned like from her feet up. So when I first saw the dress, I was like, why is his mom like up? What the hell's going? And then I realized it was the prostitute, and I was like, holy, like that's mental. Like,
and what really sells it, and Mark pointed this out, is right before that, the Penguin is overlooking Gotham in the penthouse suite, right? Like he's made it. He got his mom to where he always told her she deserved to be.
I told you, Mom.
Yeah, she's overlooking the city, but she's in her vegetative state.
Yeah.
But a tear falls down her eye. So it shows like she is cognitively aware,
right?
Possibly of where she is. The body can just cry. So,
yeah.
But as the viewer, that's how I took it.
That's how they set it up.
So
like she is aware. She's just like
she just can't move.
Partial. Yeah. Can't move. Can't speak. Can't.
Yeah. So as the viewer, I was like, oh man, that's so sad. And it really like pulls you into the Penguin's favor more, like, which is crazy because he's straight up murdering people this whole season. Like he is definitely a bad guy.
Yes.
And at this point, spoiler alert, he's killed Vic, right? Like Vic is dead. We're already in shock from that. But somehow in that moment, I was still like, man, that's awesome. He got his mom up there. Good for him. And then the camera swings over to him dancing with this bitch dressed like her. And it's like, what? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it shows how like psycho he is though, and like how he really just doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself, his mom included. Like
yeah,
because she made him promise like, "Hey, if I ever like go really downhill, you have to put me out. Like
yeah,
that's all I want. I don't want to live that way. Don't make me." And he's like, "I promise." And then here he is. Like it's a selfish thing
hmm
more than, it's not him like taking pity from his mom, it's him taking pity on himself, where he feels like he can't lose her no matter what state she's in. Like it's really messed up how deranged and psychotic this character really is, and they did such an amazing job showing that.
yeah,
And I mean, Colin Farrell killed it. Like uh, I say this with other films, but I don't see anybody else being able to pull off his demeanor the way Colin is, with the way Matt Reeves has, created this character. So
no, yeah, I
it's
agree.
really great to see this on screen, because I feel like the closest thing is going to be one of the animated shows, but even then it's like it's still just not to this level.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Which was, so I think it was
Uh,
um Dave, Dave the Film Junkie, his video on TikTok where he, oh, I'm about to lose my train of thought. Where the person that I was watching said that Cobb took the wallet, like the money out of the wallet, took his ID to make it look like a random mugging. So even in this moment when he kills Vic, when he kills
mhm,
Vic, even in that moment where, to a certain degree, I think in his own way, he really did like respect Vic, but he's also still a pawn in his, chess game. But even with all that, like it still shows his intelligence. Like I have to throw the cops off when they go investigating this death, when he, ends up washing up or somebody finds his body on the side somewhere. Like it really shows his intelligence in a, just, I mean, the whole series did at different times, but like with him killing his closest companion in his whole like group, he's still able to think so clearly of how do I get away with this.
yeah.
Very
Well,
intelligent.
yeah, and I also really think he looked at Vic as family, which is
Yeah,
kind of crazy because, like, he definitely was just using him in the first
right,
couple episodes, and he almost killed him. In the,
right.
like
A
he was
couple of
expendable.
times.
But what's crazy is you get this arc. This is brilliant, like brilliant writing,
Yeah,
just 100% brilliant writing. But you're gonna have an arc, and in the arc, the two characters that are opposite, like Vic basically is like being held captive at first.
yeah,
Like, you do this shit or I'm gonna kill you.
right.
And then you go through this arc, and at the end of the arc, they become family. Like they both look at each other as family,
Yeah,
but the intention of one of them is still to kill the other
yeah,
one. Like
yeah,
that's just crazy. It's fucking crazy, but it also makes sense in a way for the Penguin
right.
because it's like he's learned through his story that having people that are too close to him is a problem for what he's trying to do.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, fucking wild, man. Um, some there's two things I want to talk about. First off, right now there's been a video going viral, Colin Farrell in the Penguin costume, like full makeup, full
Yeah.
prosthetics, but talking in his actual accent. Have you seen that?
No, I don't think so.
All right, well, it's been getting taken down for copyrights, which is weird because it's like a cell phone video. Like
Yeah.
somebody in the crew or whatever filmed it after filming Wrapped, and he's like thanking everybody and talking about how much he loves doing what he's doing. But he's like, I'm gonna be glad to get the hell out of this, not have to wear it anymore. But he's talking in his actual accent and not like the Penguin, and it's
That's
really
crazy.
trippy. But yeah, I was just trying to find the video because I've been seeing that it was getting taken down,
Yeah.
and I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I keep getting like bits of interviews with Colin and, I'm going to butcher the name, but Renzi, Victor. Well, Colin's one that I saw about Colin was he said that suit gets so hot they had to turn the AC on so high that every everybody else on the cast and crew was freezing. Like they were in coats, they were shivering just to keep his body heat down.
Oh wow.
And
yeah, I bet though. I mean, it looks like a lot.
And then Renzi's interview, he was talking about when Cobb was choking him, had him in that chokehold.
Mm-hmm.
And Colin was just like, said something along the lines of like, here, we're going to do this and see how it goes. And sorry.
No, you're good.
And Renzi was like, with the way he was holding me, I was trying to go for his eyes and stuff. And he's like, I couldn't. What I was doing in the film was as far as I could move with the way he had me held. So it was really cool to hear that, like, because I was watching, I was like, go for his eyes. Like, you know, hit him here, hit him there, do this, do that. But just to hear that where he's like, no, like with the way the suit is and with the way he was holding me, like I physically was unable to get out of that. So it gave it real, like a more realistic, you know, killing for the shot. As soon as I heard that,
yeah,
so it was really cool to hear both of their interviews, which I plan on watching the full ones later. But
well, thanks to technology, you can hear what I'm talking about because I found it on Instagram. So this is gonna be weird. I'm gonna try to share an Instagram video on the stream. First time trying to do this. Bear with me. But apparently it just keeps getting removed from everywhere, so I had to go to a phone app. All right, let me try this real quick. Let's see here. I think this is gonna work.
It gets taken down as soon as you do it.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's see if this works.
Loved every minute of it, even when I wasn't loving it, and I just feel so grateful and humbled and blessed by being a part of this collective.
The video's not playing.
I miss the suit.
Dang it. They probably just took it down. Because the video is playing. Hold on. Let me try to refresh this. There we go.
Wasn't loving it. And I just feel so grateful and humbled and blessed by being a part of this collective. But I won't miss the suit. And I won't miss the fucking voice. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. That is so cool, though.
Yeah, it's very trippy. All right. I'm glad I know I can do that. I can share fucking Instagram on here. I can also share TikTok. So if we ever want to show a fucking TikTok, and we can have a Chinese virus on our stream. All right. Now there's also something else that I've already got pulled up because I am so excited to talk about this. So I think it was a Twitter user that first pointed this out. I think. But whoever it was, this is the coolest find in my opinion, in a comic book TV related series ever. Like in terms of like background, Easter eggs, mainly because it just also hasn't been talked about officially in any capacity at all with anybody involved with the Batman or any of Matt Reeves' detective universe, whatever the fuck he's calling it, crime saga. We have a character called Dr. Julian Rush, which is, you know, very close with Sophia throughout this series. And we definitely get these little subtle hints of like the psychedelic drug, you know, bliss, the mushrooms and Arkham and experimentation. And it's like, okay, this obviously makes us think of a certain Rogues Gallery villain.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden somebody points some shit out and it's just like, what? Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and share this real quick and then we will talk about it. This might be the original Twitter handle that pointed this out. So this is the scene where she wakes up on the couch and I believe it's one of the earlier episodes, like 2 or 3. But either way, like Yeah, it just shows how long it took for somebody to notice this. So this is in the background of his office.
Yes.
And obviously the first thing that you'll notice is like the sack hanging off the back there behind the lamp. That would kind of be hard if it was by itself. But you got this kind of Freddy Krueger looking glove going on over here. And for anybody like us that's played the Arkham games, I mean, it's hard not to think of that scarecrow with the syringes on the fingers. So that is just the coolest fucking tease ever. Like, it would be really hard to argue, mainly because, like I said, there's no official sites that have shared this or interviews where they've teased it. It's just a cold plunge. Like, boom, here's this. Fucking eat it. You know, like, if you find this, cool. If you don't, we're not going to talk about it. And it's like, what the fuck? That is crazy, especially nowadays. Like, Matt Reeves, you fucking mastermind. I don't know. I am so excited about this because, for one, if this actor is going to play the Scarecrow, I'm really excited for that.
Theo Rossi.
Because you don't see this side of him too much in this series, but he can play that kind of fucked in the head character, you know, like he plays a character in Sons of Anarchy, and he definitely deals with like mental battles and like conflict, and it really shows off his acting ability. And I'm like, man, I would never cast him. Like, it would never be a fan casting for this, but I think he'll kill it. Like, I think it will be something special.
Yeah, I watched TikTok. Somebody was like, I don't see them putting so much emphasis and putting so much time into Julian just for it not to go anywhere. They're like, so in my opinion, they're going to bring him back as in like the second film possibly, and then have him as the Scarecrow. So the people are saying like the Scarecrow is going to be one of the antagonists for Batman in the second movie, which I could see.
Well, here's what I'm kind of hoping is he's going to be like very background in the second movie. But there's going to be like at least one scene kind of similar to how they did with the Joker in the first movie, where they're establishing like, yep, that's right. It's been the Scarecrow. And then he's like a big part of the third movie. Or if they do a second season of Penguin, that's where he really... I'm going to be honest with you. I'd prefer that.
Yeah.
Because we'll get more of him in a TV series.
We will. Absolutely.
Like, this is a slow burn to Scarecrow. And it's perfect. Like, we got plenty of his character in this season. We got enough to suspect something was weird about him. Like, his willingness to go from being a doctor in Arkham to working with Sophia, who's obviously out of her fucking mind. It's like, you know, something's different about this guy. And then they sprinkle this in the background, and it's like,
well, it's his obsession with Sophia. Because he went back to Arkham after she got arrested again, and she was put back in Arkham. So they're using, you know, that obsession also as proof for the Scarecrow as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that excites me about this little screen grab is the fact that it's set up the way it is. It tells me he hasn't worn any of this yet. It's more like it's in the making.
Yeah.
You know, like that glove looks like it's still being designed or being built, constructed. And that that sack, the mask, could be something he's like, they might not even be associated, right? Like, he might not in his head have put those two together. That could be something he uses for like certain patients, similar to how Dr. Crane and Christopher Nolan's movie, like, he puts it on to make them freak out and shit, and he uses it for experimental purposes. So it might be something he hasn't even connected yet, and he's still working on. So it's just really cool that they threw that in the background.
Well, it's almost like it's being displayed like it's a decoration. Like he bought it at, from like it's something that should be in a museum, but he's got enough money to where he bought it at like an auction or something, and it's just like decoration. Like, it was important to this group of people in history, and then it's almost like he's going to take that and realize like, oh, this glove could be used for this. And they're saying the what is it? It's not the drops. I keep thinking drops. The bliss, thank you. Is almost, people are saying like the bliss is going to be what he uses for his psychedelics, and he changes it a little bit to make people see their fear versus something that's like a good high for them that they were trying to achieve in this series.
That's an interesting perspective too, actually. Like, like I said, I was looking at it as like something he's still working on, like it's on his desk in the background and he's not worried about hiding it or anything.
Right.
But that's also an interesting way to look at it too. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah. I mean, and what's his name? Matt Reeves. There we go. He doesn't do anything like accidental with this, this world. Everything he has done so far, from what I've noticed, is intentional. So
yeah,
the way I see it is there's a reason for it. And I do agree. Like, it was one of those where he was like, yeah, if y'all see it, awesome. But if you don't, like, you're going to have a surprise for you later kind of deal.
It's crazy how, I hate to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
On that point, it's crazy how comfortable he is with being so nonchalant with the coolest fucking things ever.
Right.
Like, my favorite example is, I mean, how many people do you think don't know that you can go on HBO Max or Max and you can watch the whole cut scene of Batman talking to Joker? Like, Jordan would have no idea that existed if we didn't tell him, because it's in the extras. It's not even highlighted. It's literally like the Batman and extras, like any other movie. It's just like, if people watch it, they do. If they don't, oh well. It's like, what? It's honestly one of the coolest fucking interactions between Batman and Joker in history. Like, in any movie, comic book, animated series. It's so cool. It's so cool because he never fully reveals the Joker.
Right.
So it's a tease. And there's the little thing of like the paperclip goes missing off the files.
Yeah.
Just little subtle things like that could be so important down the road.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't watch it, oh well. Like, I don't know how Matt Reeves can be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he's not like Zack Snyder will fucking share little Easter eggs on Vero, knowing that eventually millions of people will see it because it'll spread on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and all these news media pages will share it, and it's going to go viral.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves is like, whatever.
Here it is.
It makes me wonder how much shit we're not
in
tune with yet. Like, how many things there could still be things in the Batman.
Right.
A lot of people have caught on to the Scarface with the ventriloquist that I pointed out on our podcast. Like, I've seen a lot of people, especially on Reddit, talking about that. How, like, that could have actually been the real deal, walking the streets like Bruce Wayne was with the rest of the Halloween people. So I think that's cool that people are getting in tune with that. And I'm just like, there has to be so much more. Like, if this guy is so willing to be like, oh, you noticed that? Okay.
Right.
That means he's not excited about it because he knows there's like way more of that we're still not catching.
Yeah.
Like, he must have so much shit he's sprinkling in that he's just like,
Yeah.
Commercial break. Dogs barking.
But I mean, lost my train of thought. Oh, so I've seen people say like, if the Penguin is this way and he's not locked up, what is the Joker like in this world? Because if the Penguin's able to do this and be the kind of guy he is, what did the Joker do? Because if this Penguin's as brutal as he is, that means that the Joker is absolutely just like off the charts, like just psychotic. I can't even find a good word for this. He tops that, and so they're talking about like, and a little side note, like this whole watching the series made me realize like I need more of this world than I feel like I'm going to get. But they're talking about giving like a Joker series in this world, which would be cool to see like before he got locked up, like who is this guy? But at the same time, I kind of want to see him like on the big screen prior to that, because I really just want like a big here he is.
I'm not sure how to look at that right now, because I think it was Dave Film Junkie, but I saw a screenshot going around on Twitter or X of James Gunn responding to a comment about that Joker series. Because, even though it's not the DCU,
right,
James Gunn is in charge of DC Studios.
Right.
And that's a fucking thing people are so confused on. Like, there's all these idiots online thinking like, oh, James Gunn's bragging about this, it must be a part of the DCU. It's like, no, he's creating the DCU.
Right.
He oversees DC Studios, like everything. So I don't know. I don't know why people have such a hard time like separating those two things.
Right.
But either way, he did confirm in this screenshot that there was no Joker series in the works, but it would be cool. But how do I know that wasn't fake?
Right.
So, like, I didn't personally see his official handle comment on that. So all I've seen is screenshots, right?
Okay.
Or these news sites claiming it's a thing. So I'm not giving my hopes up until there's like an official, yes, this is happening. But the idea of it is cool because the Joker is always this entity that we don't get a lot of.
Right.
Which adds to his, mystique and honestly makes him more wanted by us, right? Like that's why Heath Ledger's Joker, like anytime he's on screen, it's so impactful because it's not a lot.
Yeah.
So it would be different and cool. If it does happen, it would have to be done to where it's like an origin or something to where we're not getting like him as the Joker in full.
Yeah.
Because I think that'll take away from that allure. Like it'll take away from that whole aura that he has.
Yeah.
And like the Penguin is somebody who I'm like, you can give me a whole bunch of him. It's not going to change anything.
No.
But characters like the Joker, they are cooler in smaller doses.
Yes.
So
I agree with that.
I'm hoping if they do a series, it's done, which I think we're seeing these characters are in good hands. But I'm just hoping it wouldn't be full on, here's the Joker for 8 episodes. Like I'd hope there'd be something more to it. So yeah. I want to get your opinion on something because we haven't really talked about this too much.
Okay.
There's a lot of people and a lot of people that I usually agree with, like on YouTube and podcasts, that so badly think Mr. Freeze should be the main protagonist for the second movie. And there's a theory going around that Vic, because, Victor Freeze, Vic is still alive.
Yeah.
And him laying there next to the water in a snowy Gotham that's his origin to becoming Mr. Freeze.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about any of that.
I mean, I think if they go that route, I think they're going to do a good job with it and figure out a way to make it grounded. But I don't.
How do you ground Mr. Frieza? That's my thing.
That's
like
the hard part.
There are so many non-fantastical rogues gallery villains.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can do that, because like Clayface, which I talked about on our episode before, like originally he just put on other people's faces.
Right.
The animated series made him a fantastical sludge thing.
Yeah.
So it's like we've seen that. Originally it wasn't this fantastical thing. And I think that would be a cool serial killer in this universe.
Would fit.
But a guy who just has his wife frozen indefinitely and he shoots ice out of a gun, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it can be done any differently than Arnold Schwarzenegger's. I just really don't.
I don't know. I'm not really on board with that. I don't really want to see Mr. Freeze, if I'm being honest. I'd rather see Scarecrow, Joker. I'd love to see more of Sophia. I want people that make it. I mean, like you said, it's got to be grounded, and I want it to be like the first Batman movie where it's a possibility this stuff could actually happen. I mean, not so much a dude flying around like a bat, but more so like the antagonist. Like, I want something like that. You had Ed Gein, who's kind of similar to the original Clayface. I feel like that'd be cool because we kind of already had somebody in history like that. So it'd be kind of cool to see Clayface, especially since we've never seen him on the big screen.
Yeah, so. and it again fits this world I think Matt Reeves is trying to establish, where it is pretty damn grounded.
Yes.
Some could argue more grounded than Christopher Nolan's, which was supposed to be a very grounded take. Yeah. But I don't know. I think Matt Reeves pulled off a better grounded Batman.
I agree.
Might be a hot take, but that's my personal opinion. You got a guy jumping off a building for the first time and he crash lands. Yeah. I buy that.
Yeah.
I just think like Clayface, the ventriloquist, these characters that have like these mental, like they're psychotic, just like the Joker, just like the Riddler. And they just kill people, and in their head, it's justified by whatever their agenda is.
Yeah.
That to me is cool, and it fits this world perfectly. Save Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy and all these other fantastical things for the DCU Batman, because I think Batman Brave and the Bold, James Gunn at the helm, I think that's going to be a very fantastical Batman, which I'm excited for on a big screen. Don't get me wrong, but
I don't think doesn't fit this world.
Yeah, and I think villains we're seeing in this Batman, we're not going to see as much of in the DCU.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's conversations where they're like, hey, we're probably going to do this. So, it doesn't mean we're not going to get a Joker in the DCU or a Riddler. I'm just saying, like, I think Matt Reeves is really going to try to, like, utilize what they're not going to use in the DCU.
Yeah. Give us more people to.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but it would make more sense to me.
I agree.
Also, this theory about Vic, my problem with that is it totally takes away from what they just built up to in this series. Like, his death has emotionally affected every viewer of that show.
Yeah.
There's been people on Twitter, Instagram, going on YouTube, TikTok lives. They want to, like, murder the Penguin.
Yeah.
As a fictional character, they want to, like, jump into that world and kill him.
Yeah.
And I felt that. Like, I am one of those people. The way he just chokes him out and he's crying when he's doing it, and it's just like, what? No, like, stop.
Yeah.
I don't know the TikTok user's name, but there was this guy who was live and he was watching the last episode of the Penguin like live on TikTok,
Mhm.
and that his ending has been going viral because he's sitting there like, "Oh, that's so cool. They're like family now." And then he just slowly starts going like, "Wait, no, oh no, don't! What are you doing? What? No! Oh!" And he's like, just it's funny because I was like watching this and I'm like, that was probably me watching this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
I don't
absolutely.
remember sitting there and smiling and stuff, but I
Right.
remember thinking like, oh, this is cool, man. They're like so close now. That's going to be the Penguin's right hand man.
Yeah.
Like, fuck yeah. And then it's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, I definitely did not see that coming. I don't know if I just wasn't really like looking for that, and I was just taking it at face value, but I just did not see him killing him. I expected to see him again or see Vic again as his right hand man because he really started to fill in that role of being his right. Like he started becoming a mobster with him. So it was really cool to see that growth as a character, to see where he came from to where he was at the end, and it really took me by surprise.
Yeah, and not only that, but like a lot of people who have given their reaction about it, they're acting like, yeah, I mean, we all saw Vic dying coming, right? But we just didn't expect it to be like that. And I'm like, I am not on the same page. Like, I thought him dying was too predictable, so I expected it was actually going to be the opposite.
Yeah.
So it like really caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he actually killed him.
Right.
Like, oh wow. And I don't know. It's just that whole theory about him coming back as Mr. Freeze just really bothers me because as soon as they make that reveal, it ruins the Penguin for me. It really does. And I'll be very disappointed because right now I feel like I'm in good hands. Like, I can trust that they are telling this story that's going to surprise me. It's not going to be because to me, Vic dying in the cold and becoming Mr. Freeze, that's just a little too on the nose. I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not here for it. Nothing against him as an actor. He killed it. Yeah. I wanted him to last through the movies. That's why I'm upset he's dead.
Yeah.
But as the Penguin's right-hand man.
Right.
That because he was that yin, it's like a yin and yang thing. Like they're both doing this bad thing, but Vic is like a guy with a good heart, and he had a tragic thing happen to him, and he's found comfort in this weird family, right? Yeah. Like that's his story. The Penguin's just been a psycho since he was born. He
literally
killed his brothers, played dumb about it his whole entire life. He had a chance to be honest about it, and he still just said, nah, like he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He's psychotic. So
it's like the way he killed his brothers, though, and the fact that his mom knew that, and like, oh my God.
Yeah, which he broke her mentally too.
Yeah.
She's literally a walking manifestation of like the results and consequences of his actions throughout life.
Absolutely.
It's like her brain wants to forget. Like, it's almost like this thing that naturally happens to people when they get older, like dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever she's dealing with. It's almost like her brain was more persuaded to do this because of her life experiences.
Like it's a trauma response.
Exactly.
A physical trauma response.
Yeah. So, that's, brilliant writing. Yeah. But, yeah, it's okay. It sounds like we're on the same page about this whole Mr. Freeze thing. So,
yeah, we are. Absolutely.
While we're talking about snowy Gotham,
I
got to share something really quick. And just because it's snowy, we don't need a fucking character that freezes things. That's stupid. I don't know why everyone's doing that. It's so dumb. Like, oh, there's snow? Mr. Freeze. Captain Cold. Like, Frosty the Snowman. Fuck, dude. No. The Joker. Blood in the snow. Fuck it. I don't. People are just so weird, man. All right. So this was one of the first images of snowy Gotham in the series. And it's funny because like before the Penguin, like me and you and a lot of people were so excited for a snowy Matt Reeves Gotham. Like we got the rainy Gotham in the movie. And got a golden retriever on the stream.
Hi, Mike.
But we knew it was Halloween, so it's like, if we're doing a trilogy, we're eventually going to get to a snowy Gotham. And we haven't really gotten that since Batman Returns. Although, there is that scene in the Studio Squad where Batman gets Deadshot when he's shopping with his daughter.
Yeah.
That's a cool scene because it's snowing. Deadshot's walking down the street with his daughter. He's shopping. It's like Christmas time.
Right.
And then you see freaking Batfleck just swoop down and put him in hand. Like, that whole sequence is pretty badass.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that was cool. And I guess technically that was snowy Gotham, but
yeah. But we really didn't get to see a lot of it. Like,
no. There's literally one shot that's like from the sky. And yeah, that's about it. So I really was excited for this. I didn't think they were just going to blow the load in the series, but they did. And I'm not mad about it.
No.
So here's the first image. And then this is that graveyard scene. And it's not really snow, but it's like a wintry Gotham. You can see there's some snow on the trees and on the ground. And then this is underneath an overpass, but there's snow on the cars.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is a nighttime scene, and I think the last episode.
So cool.
Dude, yes. Like, oh, God, man. Matt Reeves' wintry Gotham is just so fucking cool. But I'm going to go back to that first image because, like, the video version of this, when you see the, like, subtle snowflakes falling down, it's such a tease, man. It's just like,
it is.
Winter is coming. So, yeah, very excited. And if they fucking ruin this with a stupid Mr. Freeze, I'm probably going to boycott the rest of this franchise. It's going to piss me off. Chill. Fucking stupid ass Mr. Freeze. I don't even think I like him, to be honest with you. I think he might be my least favorite villain for Batman.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, it's bad because, like, I forget about him. He's not really rememberable.
To me, it's just like, I don't know. You can only do so much as a guy like that. Like, I don't know. Again, I don't know how you can do it better than the Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze. Like, and they went all out fantastical with that, and I think that's what you have to do. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, throw that in the DCU, let it be canon with all the other crazy circus shit going on, like Creature Commandos and Peacemaker and whatever else. I swear, James Gunn just goes through that DC almanac. He like flips and just stops, and he's like, "Oh, fucking kite man, let's go!" Like, who? Balloon animal guy. All right. Like, fuck.
Turns people into balloon animals and shit.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, DCU that. Get that out of the Matt Reeves shit. I'm tired of it. Although I will say it seems to be a majority of what people want. So, like, when Matt Reeves doesn't do that, it'll be a great surprise.
Yes.
So, there's one more thing. I actually meant to look this up and I forgot. So let me get on the Googles real quick. But this is something you and I haven't talked about at all. And it's some very blatant Easter egg going on. Hold on one second. You remember the scene where Oz goes to the courtroom to talk to what's his name? I can't remember his fucking name. Hold on one second. This might be a little more difficult to bring up than I thought. Oh, hold on. I think I spelled it wrong. There we go. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not notice this while watching it. I didn't
notice it either.
I'm in a Reddit forum, and somebody pointed it out. Okay, I just clicked on it. Wow, gosh, dude. Sometimes. Oh, there we go. Okay, this will work. Gotta love live streaming. Nope. Yep. Okay. So in this scene, I honestly don't know how, like looking at this picture, I didn't notice this, but there are clearly some owls being formed with a technique in art they call closure, where surrounding objects form the illusion of an object that is not there. We got closure creating the silhouette of owls.
Yes.
And in a courtroom. So you want to talk about on the nose, we literally have a court of owls.
Yes.
And they've, shared some very well-known imagery of the court of owls from the comic books and video games. This is like literally out of the comic book for Court of Owls, which I actually just read again last year. It's probably one of my more favorite 2-part Batman comic book series. But obviously everybody is like wanting that in a Batman movie. And I think it's perfect for Matt Reeves' epic crime saga, I think as he's calling it, because the first movie we're establishing corruption.
Right.
Corruption is running rampant through Gotham. It's controlling everything. Like corruption is the downfall of Gotham. And the Riddler, which I argue this the first podcast we did on the Batman, could almost be viewed as a protagonist.
Yeah.
Because he's essentially doing what Batman does. The only difference is he kills people and he is putting it out there, where the Batman works in the dark and he doesn't kill people. Well, I don't think he kills people intentionally.
Directly.
I definitely will argue he kills at least 30 people in that first movie. But yeah, he's learning. He'll get there. But so with that corruption being established in this, and like the Riddler's literally pulling people out left and right, like this dude's corrupt, this guy's corrupt, this guy's corrupt. And then what's his name before he dies, Gil, the DA, he literally says like, you have no idea how deep this runs or whatever, like, and he is so scared of telling the truth, he's willing to die instead of talking about it. It's just like, what? And I think it's going to be insane to realize how many people are actually corrupted and like a part of this. And I'm just curious to see. Obviously, Matt Reeves is telling us, yes, you are getting the storyline.
Right.
I'm just curious to see what he does with it, because he is definitely a fan of the comic books. He draws inspiration from, but he is telling his own story.
Right.
He's doing his own thing, which excites me because I'm like, the Court of Owls is a cool story, but I don't think some things would work in the movies.
Yeah.
With like people that are involved and whatever. I don't know. I think it could be done differently. It could be done better. I'll just say it. So Matt Reeves being that person makes sense. And I'm just excited. I think the second movie will start to tease that there is this entity behind things. Like, it's not just like, oh, people are corrupt.
Right.
Like, I think the Batman's going to start to realize there is like an organized group.
Yes.
And then I think the third one's going to be an all out, like Court of Owls fucking craziness. Like, they're trying to have him killed.
Right.
Maybe their assassin, Talon, like maybe he gets sent out to kill Batman and we get like that. I don't know. Or maybe they hire like Deathstroke to come after Batman.
Yeah.
Like I said, he has the opportunity to do something different with this. And it can still be fucking iconic. So, like, can you imagine a Matt Reeves Deathstroke?
That would be dark.
It would be fucking badass.
Yeah.
It would be fucking sick. Like, I want to see that costume design. I really do.
God, what?
Especially if they try to go like a practical route like they did with the Batman. Yeah, that'd be cool. It honestly would probably look a little similar to Deathstroke in the Arrow series.
Yeah.
A little bit, but better.
Right.
Better, but same principle, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting to see when they're going. I mean, they're obviously going to bring it into its films. It's just a matter of which film. I think I agree. I think it's going to be the third one.
Yeah,
which,
and
if they do that, I almost feel like the or nothing. Well, yeah, obviously him, but Joker is going to have to be the main antagonist for the second one. Then,
well, I almost want the Joker to be held off until the third one as well.
I do too.
I think there's something like, as somebody who has read almost all of like the big Batman comics, the only one I haven't read yet is Ego. It's on my list, but there's just something. There is an opportunity having the Court of Owls story and then this lone wolf Joker guy. If simultaneously they are problems for Batman out in Gotham, I think that would make absolute chaos for him, which would be interesting to see. Like, so if he knows, okay, there's this entity and I don't know who's behind it, but they've got an assassin trying to kill me. And, I've gotten too deep into this shit. So he's worried about that. He's worried about the people that are close to him, like Alfred and maybe Jim Gordon's family. Like, they're going to come after people, right? So he's worried about that. And then you just got this guy dressed like a clown that just wants to see the fucking world burn.
Right.
Like, if you have that, that's always a new, like, you're about to tackle the Court of Owls, but here's this fucking nuisance Joker coming at the worst times. Like, I think that can make a very thrilling movie.
I agree. I feel like he's going to have to bring somebody in, though, to help him with that.
Exactly.
Which would be the perfect opportunity to bring in Robin.
Yes. Before we jump ahead, though, this is where I wanted to talk about Sophia in the last episode of The Penguin.
Yes.
Because, first of all, the scene where the Penguin drives her to execute her and then he doesn't is brilliant because, yes, we know he is a psycho. I mean, at this point in the show, we didn't realize how psychotic he actually is, but we knew he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But he's smart enough to know that he didn't need to kill her. And again, this is what I said, that mental shit's going to be his downfall.
Yeah.
Because he should have killed her. But he wanted to get that mental, I got you.
Yeah. But
the way they filmed that, man, because like the guns to the back of her head, cuts to her eyes, and she closes them. And you expect to hear a bang. And then you hear like police rolling up and shit. And she turns around and the Penguin's gone. It's just like, dude. The whole scene was so cool to me. Again, surprised me.
Yeah.
Showed how smart he is. And she knew she lost.
She did.
She knew she lost. It's almost like in that moment, she was like, I wish you would have shot me. Like...
Yes.
Her ass goes back to Arkham.
It does. But it was really interesting when it does because then Selena sends her a letter and says, hey, I am your half-sister. And then it's done. It's like,
and they play the Catwoman music from the Batman right there, which is so cool. And we don't know what it says, right? Because it just shows her starting to smirk. But to me, it's saying, this is how the Catwoman and Batman have a divide. Because she's probably going to want to team up with her half-sister.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause division between Batman and Selena. Which puts Batman on his own.
Again.
Like, in the second movie, he's not going to have an ally.
No.
Which Selena leaves Gotham at the end of the first one. So we could already expect that.
Yeah.
But now it's like being established that if she shows up again, she's going to have this relationship with her sister.
Yeah.
Who is definitely a villain. So I can almost imagine Selena is going to be trying to help her sister kill the Penguin. And that's where the Batman and her will come to a difference, because he's going to want the Penguin in handcuffs.
Yes.
And she's going to be trying to kill him, which will cause them to be on opposite ends of, So that, again, brilliant story writing.
Yes.
But like you said, Batman's going to be alone and he's going to need some backup.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very interested to see what they do with that.
Right. And on the bright side, we have less than 2 years to find this all out.
Yeah, I was telling Abby, I'm probably going to die in impatient waiting.
Yeah.
You know, like I just...
Yes.
At least we're not in that state of like, are we getting a sequel?
Right.
We're definitely getting it.
Yes.
Filming is starting in a couple months.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, fuck, filming starting in a couple months. That's like a year of post-production and fucking building the marketing. And it's like, I'm just hoping Matt Reeves feeds us like he did at DC Fandom, where the movie had just finished wrapping and he had a full-blown trailer somehow.
Right.
And we were just like, what? But then we had to wait a fucking year for the movie after the trailer. It's like, you bastard. But
watch the trailer on repeat.
You can do it to me again, Matt Reeves.
Yeah.
Just fucking throw it at my face, make me eat it, and then make me wait for a year. I'm all for it.
Hey, if he needs a Robin, I'll help out.
I can see you being a Robin.
I'll be a Robin.
I can see it.
I'm short enough.
I mean, I don't know. I could just see it. You know, this might be weird to talk about here, but you remember when I did that photo shoot with you? Like when I first got my camera, I just wanted to take pictures of somebody. And you're like, oh, I used to be a model. I can do this. We took some fucking creepy pictures.
Yeah. Was that by the railroad tracks and all that? Yeah,
it started on the railroad. Yeah. We went in the mall. We went into some empty spaces. We had some really dark, concerning ones. But I love that shoot because there's also the one where like you've got the claw machine and I took the picture through the glass.
Yeah.
Dude, you literally look like one of the guys out of a I've always thought that. Like you just look like a dude out of a comic book. And I think if we sent those pictures in, you might have a chance.
Hey, all I'm saying is if we do it and they tell me to audition, I'm throwing that audition in.
I can see it. We'll start that campaign. We'll try to get you to be Robin.
That works.
That'd be fucking wild. Even if it's like DCU Robin, you know?
Yeah.
We definitely know there's going to be a Damian in Brave and the Bold. Yes. You could be Bruce Wayne's fucking bastard son. Like you could, well, I guess not bastard son, but like a son he wasn't aware of. Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah, that's something we should try to put out there.
So
why not?
Yeah.
Then you can fund our fucking movie.
Right. Worst comes to worst, they tell me no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, James Gunn, and I saw his official account say this. He said somebody asked about Brave and Bold casting. He said, I'm not going to start casting until we have a solid story. He said, when I know we have a solid story to tell, we'll start doing everything else. So,
oh wow,
it's an early pre-production.
Yes.
So there's a chance.
Plenty of time.
There's a chance. Do you have anything with the second Batman that you're hoping we get more of? Because there's one thing I can say for certainty.
Like that we didn't get or didn't get enough of from the first movie?
Either. Or... Yeah. Like either we got a little bit of it or we didn't get any of it at all, and you're hoping the second one delivers on it.
So it's kind of hard because I feel like we got a lot, like it was a great start to this world. We got a lot of detective scenes. I kind of want to see more of Batman and the antagonist at each other's throats. So
like more interaction with him and villain.
Yeah.
We definitely don't get a lot of that in the first one.
Which I don't think we should.
Yeah. No, it works perfectly for the story we're telling, for sure.
But I feel like it'd be really cool to because I mean, Riddler's communicating with him and he's watching him, and you get a little dialogue after Riddler's arrested, and you're thinking he knows Bruce Wayne is Batman, but like I feel like I want more somehow, and I don't know how they would do that and make it work perfectly, but I want more of that.
Well, Deathstroke is that's the thing. There's not that many villains in Batman's gallery that actually can go hand to hand combat with him. Like
right.
Batman is very well trained.
Yes.
And that's why they usually have like the Penguin has his army of guys.
Right.
That could be interesting because in the first movie, it's just the Iceberg Lounge. It's just bouncers and shit. And now the Penguin's got these dudes with fucking guns and like that could be a whole different thing. The only thing is, I think there would have to be a build up to somebody in this world that like it can't just be like Christopher Nolan had the third movie. Oh, here's Bane.
Right.
And he can best Batman. Like, I think this movie would have to like have a build up to somebody like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's fine, but I'm with you. I just don't know if we're going to get that in the second movie. It would be cool though, because the first movie's I wouldn't change anything about that dynamic, but like we never see him in the Riddler one-on-one.
Yeah.
We see Edward Nash behind the glass talking to Batman, but it's just like we see him talking to the Joker in that deleted scene. It's not like the Riddler is in his get-up in Gotham going one-on-one with Batman. So we actually only see him in that opening scene in the mayor's mansion.
Yes.
And then everything else is on TV screens.
Right.
Or a dark silhouette in the back of a car, so, and that's cool too. That's really cool. But yeah, it'd be cool to see him go one-on-one with, somebody. I don't know who or how, but it would be cool. For me personally, it's Alfred. I want more Alfred.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we're going to get that because I saw Matt Reeves was in an interview and they like highlighted talking points of the conversation. And a big one was he said the sequel will be Bruce Wayne tackling the fact that he was the reason things went the way they did in the first movie and that he doesn't like being Batman anymore. Like it's almost like an opposite of the first movie.
Right.
Like the first one, he is Batman 24/7. And when he's not in the costume, he has to try to act like Bruce Wayne. He has to try to be this thing that he's not.
Right.
And in the second one, it sounds like he's going to be trying more to be like that because he thinks being the way he has been is the reason shit hasn't been going right.
Yeah.
Alfred almost died and all these people died because of this flood and yada, yada, yada. And he blames that on himself. Like he's supposed to be this thing that protects and prevents, and he's putting a lot of weight on himself. So that's cool because I think the biggest thing we didn't like about the first one is you don't really see that Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And we're like, okay, we're building up to that. That's cool. But
I think it's interesting to see that he's being forced on, like he's putting the pressure on himself, but he's being forced to learn how to be Bruce Wayne now.
Yeah.
Which is a cool take.
Yeah, and sorry, I got Abby texting me.
No, you're good.
I also think people will be more sold on Robert Pattinson as Batman when they get to see him doing the Bruce Wayne shtick. Because I saw so many people after that movie came out like, oh, Christian Bale was way better. It's like, yeah, because they did a brief intro to how he became Batman, and it's just boom, he's Batman, he's Bruce Wayne, he's everything.
Yeah. This
is a slow burn, and it's really trying to dive into how somebody like this would tackle both things. And I appreciate that. So it's like, yeah, I would have liked some Bruce Wayne isms in the first one.
Yeah.
but I also know I'm just being impatient about it.
Right.
So yeah, that's something for the second one I'm excited about, because with more Bruce Wayne, I think we'll get more Alfred.
Yes.
Alfred will definitely support more Bruce Wayne and less Batman.
That he will.
And then I'll say on the side, I think seeing more of Jim Gordon.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because I think he maybe has a little more screen time than Alfred for sure, but it's such a cool take on Gordon.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the most true to comic take that I've seen in a movie, at least in my opinion, in terms of their relationship and the dynamic that Gordon has with the rest of the police department because of that.
Yeah.
Like, they nailed that in the first movie, man. I mean, fucking nailed it. And I just think it'd be really cool to see more of this Gordon. Maybe his family and maybe things that are at stake for him for aligning himself with the Batman and making it known to the entire police department, to the mayor. So, like, it's like, we know there's corrupt people. So you're like letting it be known that I'm with this guy.
Right.
You're now in trouble. Like, you're putting yourself at risk and anyone in your life that's important to you. So I think it'd be cool to see more of that in the second one. And I'm also curious if we're going to get any more of Selena Kyle in the second one, or if she's just kind of going to be a enigma, or like, it's just like she's there and we know she is, but
right.
Maybe there's a scene where she visits Sophia at Arkham. I don't know, but
yeah, I feel like she's going to be more of a behind the scenes side of things.
Yeah.
Like, well, she'll be mentioned and talked about, but I don't think she's going to play as big of a role as she did in this one. Which, in my opinion, I feel like it should be that way. I don't see how she could be important to the second one.
I don't either.
So,
because her whole story is basically working with inside the organization that she's trying to take down.
Right.
Like, she knows that she is the daughter of Carmine Falcone, and she knows that the only way to get close to him is to work within his organization. Like, she's working in the Iceberg Lounge. She's close to the Penguin, and she's aware of operations like the drops, and and in a way, she kind of uses Batman just like Batman uses her.
Yeah.
They're both trying to get to a certain point in all of this. And she does, she confronts her dad, and then he dies.
Yeah.
And then she leaves Gotham. Like, to me, that's just like her arc is fully completed in the first movie. And now she's out there, she's gone. And the only thing that can bring her back is, she has a sister. But I don't see them tackling that too much in the second movie. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it's definitely going to be hinted towards, but I don't see. I mean, unless if I don't know, because they would really it almost have to be like it would almost have to be the second season of the Penguin. I feel like, in order to do that, or you give them their own spin-off.
Yeah, because I think whether or not it's officially greenlit, Matt Reeves is just assuming the green light. Like, I think when he started this whole venture, I think he had a general idea of, like, if I can tell my whole story throughout film and TV, here's what it would be.
Yeah.
And sure, things might be changing and whatever, and he's getting new ideas, whatever. Like, he had to write the Batman Part 2. So I'm sure it was in his head, but he still had to write it and get it all nice and paved out. And I would almost bet that, like, there's stuff he left out of the Penguin, because in his brain, he'd like to have maybe 2 seasons or maybe 3 seasons, like, so there might be just a certain point where he has to just cut it off and we never see anymore. But I think he plans ahead like that. And like, for instance, he had the Penguin done before the Batman Part 2 was officially announced, right?
Right.
So there is a reality where we see, well, for one, we just see the Penguin and that's it, which that would be heartbreaking. But there's a reality where we've discovered this tease about the Scarecrow and then that's it.
Yeah.
Which I would argue would be worse than when we got the tease of Deathstroke at the end of Justice League and then never saw fucking Deathstroke.
I agree.
You know, it's definitely in that same realm of like, hey, you might see this, and then no.
Right.
Okay, like I'll go fuck myself.
Right. It's almost like when you say hi to somebody in public and they don't acknowledge you or don't hear you, and it's like, all right, I'll go fuck myself now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Same vibes.
Like, oh, hey, Deathstroke, and then I never see him.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Warner Brothers. Fucking dickbags. Yeah, so that's just my point, though. Like, Matt Reeves didn't care. He put that fucking breadcrumb in the background, and if Batman Part 2 never happened and they just got canceled, whatever.
Yeah.
The story stopped right there. Nothing I can do about it. But I like that. I feel like he plans on just having everything he wants, and then he sees what happens. Yeah. So, but I think his brain and how it works with putting these characters on screen is a money-making machine. And I think Warner Brothers, especially the new heads of Warner Brothers and DC Studios, I think they're recognizing that. And that's the only reason they're allowing this to continue.
Yeah. No, I agree. Absolutely.
Because James Gunn admitted there was a strong push for Matt Reeves to canonize his Batman into the DCU.
Oh, wow.
There was a strong push for it. There were and Matt Reeves has talked about this too. Like, there's been conversations where, like, hey, we could see your Batman easily blending into what we're doing.
Right.
But Matt Reeves has been like, no, like, I don't want it to be a part of this other thing. Like, I just want to tell my story and that's it.
Yeah.
And they're allowing that.
Yeah.
And it's because it's a fucking success. Like, the Penguin had broke records.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about that is it doesn't even have the fucking Batman. Like, the main person this whole world is based off of isn't even in the fucking show. The last shot, you get 2 seconds of the bat signal.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it. So it's crazy that, like, his storytelling with this character, with this world is that fucking good. And not only that, I actually forgot this had anything to do with the Batman. Like, in the last couple of episodes, I was so enthralled with what was going on, and I was just ingesting everything they were giving me. I didn't care. I didn't care about the Batman. I didn't care about the Joker, the Riddler. I was like, yes, more Penguin. Thank you. You know, like, just so good.
I just wanted Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, well, don't you worry. Vic's coming back with a fucking ice gun. I'm just like, come on, like, how would you? Okay, look, let's talk about this. How would you ground Mr. Freeze? Like, what is a variation of a guy like Mr. Freeze that could come off as grounded? I'll give you an example to help you think of your idea. So, like, if you asked me that, I would say, well, I guess a guy that, like, wears winter clothing and freezes things, like, in a freezer, like he kills people by freezing them. So there's no ice gun, there's no, like, he only survives in cold. It's just, it's winter time and he's a serial killer that freezes people.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the only thing I can think of is, like, a big industrial freezer that he hangs people up on and slowly kills them.
It's so lame. That's pretty much it, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's either that or he literally like ties people up and leaves them out in the night so they freeze, or he throws them in the river. Like, I don't know, but it's
even
like
with all that, it's
yeah. To me, it's almost like a mockery of the character, because it's like, oh, you got a guy named Vic and he's freezing people, but you never call him Mr. Freeze.
Right.
You're like, no, fuck that. That's dumb.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't see Matt Reeves doing that because it's like the Riddler's the fucking Riddler.
Yeah.
The Joker is the Joker. Like the Batman is the Batman. Like he's not trying to just suggest this could be that person.
Right.
He is owning it. Like, yes, this is this villain. So I just don't see it. I don't know. I don't see it. I also don't see how he could have a guy that shoots ice out of a gun.
No, not. I mean, it's one of those things where even if they do like this, he's like a scientist and he's obsessed with like the cold and stuff like that. And he starts killing people and he invents like a gun that shoots like frozen spikes out. But even then, like, I feel like that wouldn't work and it's reaching just to have a there's just no good way to do it. Like at the end of the day, there's no good way to do it in this world. And yeah, I think it would do a disservice to that character.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. It's just funny because there's literally like fan castings for Mr. Freeze. Like that's how convinced people are that just because Matt Reeves is like, oh, Gotham is wintry now.
Right.
Oh, here's Mr. Freeze. I'm like, that's so dumb. Like, I don't know. If he really does that, I will boycott the series. I will stand on that.
That's fair.
But then if he does it and it's actually badass, I'll eat the crow. I'll literally admit, like, yeah, I was wrong. And holy shit. But you know, like here, let me share this real quick. So like if you just search Mr. Freeze, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when you see anything that you're like, oh yeah, that could be a Matt Reeves Batman. Look at this. The Batman Part 2 could do a great process job with introducing a Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, but that doesn't, I mean, that picture in the middle, far right, now top, now middle, next to Robert Pattinson's Batman. Like that, it looks too, I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, there's nothing here.
It just doesn't fit.
No.
I don't know. And again, here's what's really funny about this. This whole like theory that he's the villain is just because it's snowy Gotham.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, come on, people. The Batman is in Halloween.
Right.
It's fall. And then he said the Penguin was following that. So obviously we're getting into November, which end of November, he starts to get snowy.
Yeah.
And he even said that in his movies, we're going to see Christmas and New Year. So it's like, that's just naturally how like the seasons work.
Yeah.
It's not like fall would just go into spring, but Mr. Freeze is in Gotham. Right. Now we have winter. It's like, come on, I don't know.
Well, scroll up a little bit.
There's
going, keep going. It's going to be a picture on the left with Robert Pattinson's Batman, Riddler, right there.
This one?
Yeah. Load that up. I don't think you can. But I mean, just look at that though. You have Matt Reeves, Batman, Riddler, and Catwoman, and then you have Mr. Freeze in the back. Like it just with that picture, it doesn't even fit. It doesn't even look right.
No, it makes no sense.
Like I get the coloring and the it looks different that way, but just the characters themselves, it just doesn't fit.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'll be honest. There's a part of me that's a little worried that Matt Reeves might want to try to pull it off. I will say that. I'm a little worried about that. And that's why I keep talking about it so much. It's like I'm trying to convince myself that he's not going to do it.
I don't think he will.
But I just don't know. I don't know. There's certain things I'm just like, I don't know how you can pull it off. Like, let me give you a good example. A lot of people don't like The Dark Knight Rises. Why don't they like it? They don't like it because, for one, it's pretty much daytime. The whole, like, you don't really get that, like, Batman and Gotham at night thing. You barely get Batman. And the freaking antagonist kind of sucks. Like, Bane is just not really Bane. right? It's like Christopher Nolan took this guy that's supposed to be on freaking Venom juice and like a monster, like, and you got Tom Hardy who's 5'10", and he just wears a mask for no fucking reason,
Right.
and he talks like this the whole time, and it's just like it doesn't work. Like, it just really doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, my dad and I went and saw that in theaters for my birthday,
and
the whole time he kept leaning over, he said, I can't understand what he's saying, Kyle. And I was like, yeah, I can't either. Like, we saw it in IMAX, and that freaking like, it literally sounded like that. You couldn't understand the dialogue. So it just made him a really annoying antagonist for the film. And then, like, when I watch it on Blu-ray and I have subtitles, it's like more tolerable. But it's just like Christopher Nolan should have tried to do something else. The Bane thing didn't work out.
No.
And I'm worried if Matt Reeves tries to tackle this Mr. Freeze thing, it'll have that same effect. Like, he'll come up with something that's kind of cool, but just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, that's my biggest fear.
See, I don't really think he will. I mean, I don't feel like that's who he is. Like, I think he's going to do stuff that the fans want, I feel like, to a certain degree, but he's also going to do something that's going to make a great story and absolutely kill it. I don't see him giving us the Batman, the first one, and then this Penguin series, and then going to something that may or may not work. It doesn't fit the narrative he's throwing at us.
I agree. So this is from sources across the web, obviously. These are all the villains that are in circulation to be rumored as possible villains in the next movie, but also just in the franchise in general. We haven't talked about this at all, but Hugo Strange would be awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. My only concern with that is Hugo Strange is on level with the Court of Owls, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you can tell those stories in a trilogy.
Yeah.
Hugo Strange being the main, spoiler warning, the main antagonist for Arkham City was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, the ending of that game where you climb the tower and he's like the final boss, like, that was so good. Him being behind all the villains that are loose in the city. And I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It's like that can be on level with Court of Owls very easily. Right. So that's my only concern with that. It's like you can't do Hugo Strange and not make him a big bad.
Right.
So that's my only thing there. Hush. It's teased in the first Batman in that news clip, and obviously with the Riddler, like, I think that'd be cool. I don't know if they're gonna actually do it, but it could be cool. Who else we got in here? Yeah, see, Poison Ivy. How do you? I don't know. That's with Mr. Freeze, and not just because they were literally the villains in Batman and Robin. Like, she's just fantastical, you know. Like, I don't know how you ground that.
Yeah. I mean, you could have her take somebody that's just obsessed with plants and then figure out a way to use, like, make a poison out of it. Mm-hmm. And then kind of dose people with, like, lipstick or what am I thinking of? Like, spiking their drink with a poison kind of deal.
Yeah. But again, that just seems like a dulled. To me, that's very similar to, like, Mr. Freeze being a guy who just freezes people in a freezer. You know, like, okay, you found a way to make it grounded, but is it still important or necessary? You know, like,
right.
So yeah, and then here, Bane. I mean, I will admit I've seen people saying, like, "Oh, Matt Reeves should cast Dave Bautista as Bane," and for one, I like him as Hugo Strange personally. I think he would be a great Hugo Strange.
Yes.
And I've seen those fan castings too, but, like, if he played Bane, it'd have to be in the DCU. It couldn't be, and I think he's, like, he's still a great actor and everything. I think he has a long career ahead of him still. I'm not trying to say anything, but like I think he's too old to play a Bane now. Like him as Hugo Strange, perfect.
Well, the age is roughly more accurate with Hugo than it's going to be with Bane.
Yeah, and his size, because he's purposefully cut down his weight, so he can get more roles and not just be the meathead. Like,
right?
He's literally been talking about that in interviews. Man Bat, get the fuck out of here. Two-Face, we haven't really talked about that too much. I don't know if we're gonna get like a full-fledged Two-Face, but I definitely think we're gonna get a Harvey Dent.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't really see how we can get a Two-Face in just one movie though.
Yeah, it's been done twice now, and I think it's robbing us of something that could be told in a longer story. Like the way we're getting Penguin and Riddler, like if you introduce Harvey Dent in the second movie, which you probably will, because I think Bruce Wayne's going to be going to court over things that happened in the first movie.
Yeah.
So like, you know, there's all these things that come to light about the Wayne what's it called? What's it called? Not the Wayne Foundation. What oh my gosh, my brain's farting right now. What is the thing that the Riddler is literally like like when him and Gordon go to Wayne Manor and like there's that real plane.
Yeah.
And it's literally Thomas Wayne talking about. Oh my god!
They how to do with that
I hate myself right now.
They had him killed or some shit.
No. The fuck, dude! I'm having such a brain fart. It's pissing me off. Sorry to anyone that's watching or listening to this down the road. I'm just the Wayne.
Exposed Thomas Wayne's corruption, which is that Martha is a member of the Arkham family whose father murdered her mother, then died by suicide, and the Arkham family then used their power and influence to cover it up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what the thing is. Like it's not a charity, but it's like this financial fuck, dude. It's literally like one of the biggest parts of the movie. That's why I'm pissed off. I can't remember what it's called.
The Foundation?
I don't think it's the Wayne Foundation. I think it's called something else. And it's referenced so much in the movie. And it's a lie. Like the Riddler literally says, like, whatever it is a lie.
Renewal fund.
Renewal. Jeez, thank you so much. Good fucking lord, dude. That was pissing me off. Okay, but yeah, that gets blown up. It's made public that wasn't what it was sold to the public as being. So money hasn't been going to the things that people thought it was. And who's the Wayne that's alive that could be held responsible? Bruce Wayne. Goes to court, second movie. Harvey Dent will appear. That's my theory. Anyways.
Makes sense.
If he's in it, he can't be Two-Face in the second movie. It would have to happen in the third movie. And it would have to be, like I said, it has to be drawn out. Like we deserve more than just, a few scenes. Like we get a lot of him in Batman Forever, sure, but that take of Two-Face is pretty corny. Yeah. He's almost like the Joker, the way he laughs and the way he does things. It's like they just dressed him wrong. He's supposed to be the Joker. But
then we got him in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, and it was so short and sweet, and I just wanted more of it. So yeah, I hope he doesn't become Two-Face on the second one, and if he does, I hope we get more out of him than just a quick flash in the pan.
Well, I feel like with that, they would... Well, here's the issue, is if they do push the Court of Owls and the Joker, they would absolutely have to bring in Robin for that. But we would have to have a Two-Face spin-off series in between the second and third to give us more of him, and for him to be a part of the third to not feel robbed, if that makes sense.
I'll be completely honest with you. I can see with them allowing Matt Reeves to keep telling his story. Like, we don't know we're getting a third Batman, but we can assume we probably will. Because I feel like the second Batman is going to be on par with The Dark Knight. I think it'll be like neck and neck for being the best Batman movie ever.
Yeah.
We're going to get the full-fledged Bruce Wayne. I think we're going to have a little less Batman, but I think the Batman scenes will be more in depth. We're going to get more action. We'll probably have an updated suit at some point.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be fucking iconic.
Yep.
So I think it'll be on par with The Dark Knight without question. And with all that being said, if they do allow Matt Reeves to tell the whole story to the best of their ability with money and everything, I could see them greenlighting a second season for the Penguin. But that's it. That's my thing with the Joker series. That's my thing with people saying there should be a Catwoman thing or there should be a Gotham PD show. It's too much money they got to invest in this when they're trying to build a whole DCU to compete with Marvel. So I'm like, okay, they're allowing this to happen still. Cool. He did get a bigger budget for the Batman too. But I think if they allow more outside of the movies, it'll be Penguin season 2. I think Harvey Dent would be introduced in Batman 2, and then he could be utilized as legal counsel to some degree for the Penguin or maybe for Sophia Falcone. But like, I could see his story continuing through the Penguin. So that way we see him in the Batman Part 2. We see him in the Penguin. And then maybe in the Penguin, he turns into Two-Face, like near the end of the series. Yeah. And then we can be freaking jumping at the bit to see this Two-Face in the Batman Part 3.
Right.
And then we would know, oh, we're going to get Two-Face, Joker, Court of Owls. It's going to be fucking chaos. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
So if they do that, awesome. But otherwise, I don't know if I even want a Two-Face.
Right.
Like, Matt Reeves might just give us a fucking like hard dick Harvey Dent, and that's it. Like, he just never turns into Two-Face,
which I'd be okay with. I think seeing him just as the district attorney would be cool.
Yeah,
because eventually he's going to become Two-Face. But I mean, we've seen Two-Face, like you said, quite a few times. So it's one of those things where if we get it, that'd be awesome, especially in this world. But if not, then we can use our imagination to try to figure out what went on with that after he became Two-Face.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to think of, I don't feel like there's any other villains on there that we hadn't already talked about. So I will just say my closing thoughts on the whole villain thing for like future films, because there's a lot of villains that could happen that aren't even listed on there. I think there's more grounded villains than fantastical personally when it comes to like Batman's rogue gallery. And that's why the whole Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Bane, it's like we can do without those.
Yeah.
Leave those for the DCU. But my closing thing will be Hugo Strange would be fucking awesome. I personally think he'll be better utilized in the DCU still. Like, he is grounded. He can be grounded. He can be fantastical. He's definitely versatile. Sure, he could be awesome in the Matt Reeves, but again, I think the Court of Owls is like the Thanos, if you will, of Matt Reeves' Batman epic crime saga. And I think they need to be the big dog, and it's just raining psycho serial killers.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I think that is the legacy of this franchise. And as long as he stays under that umbrella, he will have my fucking money.
Yeah.
But as soon as we have a stupid Vic Freeze or Poison Lipstick or whatever the fuck. Like, Kyle's gonna be out. I'm gonna be like, you know what? What's James Gunn cooking over here?
Now, I will say this. I think if anybody can make those characters happen and make it a good story still, I think it can be Matt Reeves. I don't see it happening. I'm not saying I want it to happen, but if he tells me like, or if he comes out and says, yes, these are going to be my villains, this is a snippet of what I think I want to do with it, I will stay very optimistic and I will definitely check it out. And if he wins me over, then fuck it. Good for him.
Yeah.
So, but I don't see it happening. So,
yeah, I'm with you. Well, any other thoughts on this? We've talked about this way longer than I thought we could.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was absolutely solid. We covered everything that I planned on covering with this, or I wanted to cover with this. So.
Yeah, same. Anyone watching or listening still, thank you. First of all, we appreciate you. But just know that this episode was supposed to be Den of Thieves, as we talked about at the end of our last episode, but we have other people coming on for this, and there were some scheduling conflicts, as always. So we're going to move this till next week, hopefully, and we can get the other people on. So yeah, be looking forward to that next week. And if you guys have anything you want to talk to us about that we brought up in this episode, feel free to message us. And we wouldn't be opposed to people coming on the stream and talk to us either.
Yeah,
you can always send a link out to somebody you can jump on and talk to us. That'd be cool too. So yeah, we appreciate you listening and watching either way. And also, if there's anything that you've noticed in the Penguin or the Batman Easter eggs, or you have different theories, feel free to let us know. Because I love talking about this stuff. I love thinking about it. And that's another reason I'm a big fan of Matt Reeves, is like, I just always feel like there's something more. And I can't even tell. Like, Abby makes fun of me for how much I've watched the Batman. She'll literally come in the bedroom, because it happens all the time. I would almost say I watch it once every 2 or 3 months at least. She'll come in the bedroom, and I always have TV on before I go to sleep, and she'll see that movie on. She'll like, again? And I don't know. Like, obviously for Halloween, it's in my Halloween list of movies I gotta watch. So I watched it again, even though I had just watched it like a couple weeks prior for the episode we did on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't help it. It's just so good.
Yeah. You got to watch it a lot.
And here's what's interesting. I watched that around Halloween, and then I watched The Dark Knight.
Interesting.
Because I wanted to like compare it to what is widely regarded to as the best Batman movie ever.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting comparison, because like I watched the Batman, I think it was like 2 nights later, I watched The Dark Knight, and it was crazy. Like there was almost a part of me that was like, what would this Joker have been like in Matt Reeves' Batman universe?
Right.
Like, I'm excited for Barry Keoghan's Joker and everything. Like, I actually just watched that scene like 2 days ago just to revisit it. And I'm very excited for more of it. But man, Heath Ledger's Joker was just something special.
It was. Absolutely.
And no matter like how familiar I get with it, or how like, after a while, even the most amazing things, if you can see them and touch them enough, you get bored with them.
Yeah.
And I always feel like I'm there with Heath Ledger's Joker, but then I watch that fucking movie and it's just like, God damn, dude.
Right.
Like, what a fucking performance.
Yeah.
What a performance. Like, I'll be honest, I think the Batman kind of sucks in that movie. It's literally a Joker movie.
Yeah.
Even though he has like 8 or 9 minutes of screen time, it's just like, he is the horsepower behind that film. And he is definitely what people wanted more of in the third. And unfortunately, we couldn't get it.
Yeah.
But God, man, just so good. So good. So, yeah, I don't know. I had to close on that because I still don't think to this day there's been a better villain performance in any superhero movie or show.
Right.
Like, I think he is just goated in that shit. Like,
yeah,
it almost like you can almost look at it as like they found this guy on the streets that was literally living this life, and they said, "Hey, we'll pay you $100 to let us film you for a couple of days." And he's like, "All right, sure," like it's just creepy how like believable it is.
Yeah,
and I don't know. So yeah, and I don't know if we're ever to actually cover Christopher Nolan's trilogy. It's something I've toyed around with, but I don't know. I think if I ever analyze those movies too much, I'm really going to start to hate them.
That's fair.
Because, like, when I pointed out to you how terrible all the fight scenes are in every one of those movies, it's just like, what are we doing here? It's almost like they said action. Everyone's just like, My favorite, though, is in The Dark Knight Rises when he saves Catwoman and Bane's just walking out and everybody's just shooting and somehow they get in the fucking Batwing UFO thing. And it's like, none of you guys could hit two people that are slowly jumping into a spaceship.
Right.
Not only that, but when they're completely circled by them and Batman and Catwoman go back to back and they got all these thugs around them. But there's like those guys, they look like they're in a video game. They're just like waiting their turn to jump in. It's like, if y'all just ambush them, you would kick their ass. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, Dima, you're muted.
That's awkward.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, it's just like, what the fuck? I don't know. And it's like, that shit happens in movies, but you can hide it. It's just like they blatantly show you like, yeah, they're outnumbered, but only two people are doing something right now.
Yeah, that was definitely yeah.
Not to mention there's literally guys with guns, which I know I've shown you this, but there's literally guys with guns, and it's like somehow Batman's able to disarm them before they can pull a trigger.
Right.
And just
no, in real world, he's getting shot quick.
And it just sucks, man, because it's like the action is so important with a Batman movie.
It is.
And when the action with George Clooney's Batman is better than yours, you have failed.
Problem.
You have failed. So yeah, it's gonna close on that, I guess. So yeah, we're never doing Christopher Nolan's trilogy. Like,
we can't.
The little bits of it that I love, I'm not going to ruin by analyzing it with my podcast brain. Oh, Jesus. Anyways, all right. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Sorry this episode went longer than what we've been doing, but we can obviously just talk about this shit forever. So, anyways, next week we should be doing Den of Thieves. We'll have some extra people on, which will make it more fun. So tune in next Wednesday or Thursday for Franchise Humpday. And until then, I hope you guys have a good week. Peace.